back to the Barking Dog Podcast. We have our very first in-studio guest and first guest ever on the podcast, Luciano Ramos, United States Marine, overseas security contractor for multiple government agencies, former Jiu-Jitsu school owner, and current real estate agent for the great state of Florida.
Yes. Selling all the houses.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, so welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you.
So first question though, just gonna go straight into it. Tough questions.
Do it.
So since we are the Barking Dog Podcast, I wanted to ask if you were any type of dog, what type of dog would you be? What breed do you think that fits you?
Probably Cane Corso.
I agree with that.
Probably a Cane Corso, an old grumpy one. But
Fair.
probably a Cane Corso.
Okay.
Fantastic breed of dog.
I like it.
So tell us, how did you wind up becoming a Marine? I mean, that's a very specific branch of the military. I mean, known for being some of the hardest dudes on the planet, period.
Yeah, so I lived a crazy life, man. It was crazy. I moved down here in 89 from New Hampshire. My dad was Air Force, and I was just a wild kid, wild. Best friend's named Rocco. He's like 4'11", just mean. Yeah, me and him would just beat up everybody, just getting fights nonstop, man. It was wild. Not something I'm proud of, but not something I feel sad about. Is you're a kid. It is what happens,
Right.
And we're just wild, And I met him in like 5th grade, and he was like, me and him were like this, and then we got into like football, and then like somehow we were called like south of the border because we're just crushing everybody. It was pretty funny, so we're like, oh, whatever. Then they dubbed us like Bush Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. And we were just always getting into trouble, man. But because we're wild.
Right.
Yeah.
And I ended up transferring from Crestview to Baker.
Okay.
Just to play football out there. And then one day, did a whole football, did a whole season towards the end of the year. That was my senior year. And I was doing what every great young kid who's about to get recruited into the Marine Corps does. I'm just skipping class and just sleeping on a bench, just hanging out, And this dashing gentleman in a nice dressed blues outfit's like, "Hey, kid, what's your name?" And I'm just like laying there like this, have my little hoodie on. I was like, "Huh? You talking to me?" Not even paying attention, I had my earbuds in.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You ever heard of the Marine Corps?" It's like, "No." And then he's just like, "Well, what are you doing out here?" I was like, "I'm skipping class." And he was like, "Come talk to me." And then, there you go. And then I was like, "Oh man, his uniform's kind of cool." And I did kind of hear Marines are pretty gangster. I was like, "All right, I guess I'll do it."
Yeah.
So, and I was talking to the Army like 2 weeks prior, but the guy took forever to get back to me. And then he was like, "Yo, we'll take you."
We like you.
Yeah.
So what year did you wind up getting recruited?
In 99.
99. Okay. So just before really everything started popping off
Just before everything
in the
started
Middle
popping
East
off.
for the United
Yeah.
States.
And how old were you?
18.
Okay, straight 18. Okay,
To
right.
me, I'm
Makes
like,
sense.
I want to do infantry. And he's like, "Oh, we got you. We got
That's
you."
all we do.
He was like, "We got you. We'll take care of you. You'll be just fine." And then, so 1st Battalion, 5th Marines. So 1-5 over in California, Camp Pendleton.
Nice.
It was interesting. So, very first time in California, like, taxi driver, like, picks me up. And then he's taking me over there to the base. He's like, "Look over at those hills." And I look over. He's like, "You're going to be humping those hills." And I'm just like, man.
Can't wait.
Like, I hated that because, like, it's ruck marches are no joke.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's.
And Florida's flat.
Yep.
And everywhere we trained was flat.
Yep.
And, I went to Paris Island. Everything's flat.
Mhm.
In Camp Geiger and School of Infantry in North Carolina, everything's flat. And then I see that.
All of a sudden you're like, oh.
And I'm like, man, if humping sucked before,
It's definitely
it's about
gonna
to suck
suck
now. And so, and he just dropped me off at the gate and was like, "Have fun." And I'm like,
Will do.
yeah, there you go.
That's crazy.
Oh, goodness.
How long were you stationed at Camp Pendleton?
So I ended up doing like 3 years, and then I jumped over to Embassy Guard. I got
Okay.
selected for embassy duty and jumped over to that.
Okay.
And, so, which was cool, And then that gave me a top secret clearance, and then I got out and started doing government contracting.
Gotcha. Okay. So where were you at when 9/11 occurred? Right, like that's the big catalyst that kind of sent us back into the Middle East once again.
So I was in Pendleton,
Mm-hmm.
and so in an infantry base, it's never quiet, ever, especially Marine Corps infantry base, because they got you in like a little camp away from everybody. I was like in the 62 area, which is Camp Mateo, and it's like, because you're like just dogs, like mean dogs in a cage. They're just like locked up.
Right,
They just
right.
feed you and beat you, and then feed you, and like, they were like, "Go get them, boys, go get them." And so they can't have you with everybody else because it's too wild over there,
Yeah.
you know. And then we just do stuff like antics that Marine Corps infantry do, like fight each other all the time. Like, you know, one of my buddies, he looked like a young Clint Eastwood, you know, and he would get drunk and then knock on the door of the first platoon downstairs, and whoever answered the door, he'd punch him in the face and he'd get into it. Yeah,
Who's the unlucky soul today?
you know, and that's just the way it was on the Marine Corps infantry base. It was wild, you know?
Yeah.
And then you'd have like, and I heard now it's gotten pretty politicalized, you know,
Yeah.
but it wasn't like that when I was in. Like we were straight like, yo, you want to take this tree line? I got actually photos of me, and I was a Lance Corporal at the time, and my corporal fighting it out on ship. You know, we were up,
Jeez.
like, because we did a 6-month little pump on a 31st New Expeditionary Unit,
Mhm.
and then like we got into it, and he was like, "Yo, we can go to the bathroom," and I was like, "Yo, let's go." And then it's pretty crazy because like you got windows on each side, and there's 2 doors in to get in, you know, and then we just fought it out in there. I still got pictures of people were taking like
It's like the arena.
like the old style
Yeah.
pictures you had to take. Yeah, it was like arena, you know, and I still got those pictures.
Nice.
And he ended up to go work for a government agency, and they interviewed him and asked him like, "Have you ever been in a fight?" And he put it down. So
Yeah.
he called me and was like, "Yo, this." I was like, "Bro, like, you know, I'm gonna always talk good about you, you know."
Yeah.
Right.
Like we were young and dumb, like, and I was being an idiot. Like,
Yeah.
just for the record, though, I whooped you up, though. So we're clear. I got the pictures to prove it.
Yeah.
And I did whoop him up. Like, I whooped him up.
Yeah.
Slammed his face on the little dryer thing, ripped that thing off. I had a picture of me banging against the window, against the wall, just like choking him out. And then, but he got a good punch because, like, I kind of blocked it, but it still did uppercut, and you could still see it hit my face. But it was like, I mean, I'll show you these things.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
It was
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Sounds awesome.
And you see people in the background just looking like,
What is,
yo.
what is
What's
happening?
happening right
Yeah, but that's what Marines do, you know. Not
Right.
anymore, from what I heard, but that's what we used to do.
Right.
So
A few of them are probably placing bets on the side.
I know, right? Yeah, and he was cool, man. You know, his name was Wardrop, but that's his last name, Wardrop. You know.
Really?
Yeah. He's
Born to be a
he's
Marine.
gangster, man. He is gangster, and he had these tattoos of dragons, one of fire and one of ice on
Nice.
each side. I think maybe the ice one punched me,
That
got me
sounds
in the
sick.
face, but yeah, man, it was cool. It was a good time.
That's awesome.
Heck yeah.
That's awesome. So did you wind up getting deployed to the Middle East during the?
I did, but I ended up being at the embassy in Bahrain, and I was out
Okay.
there. My unit did go. First Capital Marines. They
Mhm.
they led the tip of the spear all the way to Baghdad.
Right.
Lost maybe 3 people, I think,
Wow.
and they actually just had a book about it.
Okay.
And they saw it pass by. I still talk to all those guys. You
Yeah.
know? And they do reunions. They're like, "Yo, just come out." And I just never go because it's all the way in California and all that
Yeah.
stuff. And
It's a long trip.
then they did something in DC, and then, you know, as you get older, you just work all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Hard to find
yeah.
the time.
Life
Yeah.
gets in the way of those kind of things.
How long were you in Bahrain?
It was about a year and a half,
Okay.
and that was my final stint before I could jump out of the Marine Corps.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I did Barbados for my first embassy, which was cool.
That is very
That's a great
cool.
place
It
to
was
start off.
cool. And then I went over to Bahrain, and then jumped into went to college for just under a year and a half,
Mm-hmm.
and ended up I was part of the Student Government Association, and his grades were great, and then I just dropped out to go do overseas security contracting.
Right.
Because all my boys
Nice.
were making pretty good money.
Yeah.
All right. Makes sense.
And so ended up going to a DoD NATO contract out in the Balkans, out in Kosovo.
Oh wow.
And then I was out there, Kosovo, Macedonia. Me and him just partying it up.
That's awesome.
That was wild, man. Like we drove a we went to Italy, and then we ended up driving a Fiat off a cliff.
How did that come about?
It was wild, man. So I went over there because like I went over to look at some dogs, some Neapolitan Mastiffs. 'Cause I was going to buy them and ship them back
Oh,
to
yeah.
the States, because I used to get dogs from everywhere, and I had some of the best Neapolitan Mastiffs. One that won the World Neapolitan Mastiff Dog Show, the Atimana in Mexico. Grand Champion Messino Templar, Knight of Sidonia. Yeah,
That's wild.
Yeah. And then she also did, I think, Best in Group in Eukanuba and Westminster.
Okay.
And I co-owned it with a lady by the name of Rachel Hosking. They're out in Louisiana. So I had some beautiful dogs, man. They were massive.
Yeah.
And so we went to go look at some kennels out there. And then I ended up, because over there, man, they have an hour where it's like siesta or something like that. And they don't do nothing.
Really?
Nothing. Like nothing gets done. And so we found some little place that was open. Went over there, got a quick drink, and then we didn't get tipsy or nothing. It was nothing like that.
Yeah.
But just got something just to get a drink and just check the place out.
Yeah.
Chill. And then we were rolling to go to the kennels, and then which the dude owned like this massive estate. He had like thousands of warthogs, like massive warthogs. These things were like insane. Italian warthogs are like no joke.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Didn't know that.
yeah, it's insane. You could probably ride this thing, and they were mean, and so, but he'll just kill them and like sell the meat, stuff like that,
Right.
And they had all those dogs. But then I guess I left the address over there, and so then like we were like, dang, we gotta go back. And then went back, and we were speeding. I told my boy, like, yo, slow down. And he hit a rock, and we went, it was like, there's a big rock right in the middle of the friggin' road, and we hit it and just went off a, like, 15, 20-foot embankment, rolled,
Holy cow.
and then hit a bale of hay. The hay exploded. We're arguing. And we got this all on video, because we were doing, like, live camera interviews throughout the whole trip in Italy.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the whole thing was wild, man, because, like, I'm going to put down pause and go back to here real quick. As we're leaving Kosovo, flying out of Macedonia, we got hemmed up at least 5 times by different cops that pulled the taxi over to try to get us for money. But we had NATO badges, basically, military NATO badges. So we'd be like, here you go.
Hey,
We're just like, oh.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah. And then we just rolled out. Then went to the airport, and they told us, like, hey, you're not on the manifest. We're like, yeah, we are. And they're like, no, we're not. We're like, we have the tickets right here. And then my boy's like trying to give the phone to the travel agent. He's talking to travel agent, trying to give that phone to the clerk behind the desk. And he's like, no, I don't care. You're not on the manifest. You're not going nowhere. And the whole time I'm like over here talking to this little Italian lady who's just like super old. Her whole family's been gone. She's been living in the airport for like a week. They did the same thing to her. And because they try to get you money because they're broke. So my buddy's like comes running over, Rocco.
Okay.
He's like, yo, we're gonna go to jail or get beat up. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, I just reached over and started choking out the desk guy.
Oh, no.
What?
Really? He's like, yeah, and I slammed his computer on, like slammed it down. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Because he used to do like crazy stuff like that. Like, I mean, he looks just like Vin Diesel, but we call him Vin Weasel. And he's mean too. And so these dudes that are like massive, probably like the smallest guy is probably like 6'6".
Jeez.
The other guy's like 6'7", 7'3" like they're and like Eastern European, and they are big. They come over there and they're talking, and I'm trying to like talk to them, and then the young guy's like, "Yo, let's just whoop there," and I'm like, "Really?" So I know like we're about to get hemmed up. So I grab this pipe, rip it off the ground, throw it to my boy. He's swinging it over his head. I'm holding it like Conan, like this. And I'm like, yo, you guys might beat us up, but I'm going to crack your head open before I'm cursing at this time.
Right.
And then the older guy, he's big, but he's like, yo, hold on. Everyone hold on, calm down. And I'm telling him like, yo, you had this old lady over here stuck for a week, and you guys trying to hem us up for money. Then I told him, I was like, you want to whoop us up? I'm American. Let's go. And I had that thing holding on my head, like Conan, and I was just going to smash him. And then the older guy's like, hey, hold up. Long story short, I got us all on the plane with the old lady. She's in the middle. My buddy's over here. I'm over here chilling, and we just flew together to Italy.
That's awesome.
And so, I mean, this Italian trip was insane, and it was just nuts. And then a bunch of crazy stuff happened, and then fast forward, the car rolls over, we're yelling at each other, and then all of a sudden the airbags go off.
Oh.
And like we've been sitting there for like a minute already.
Right.
And we went down the embankment that's like literally 20 feet. It was massive. It was crazy. I don't even know how. Like I'm like, is my leg messed up? Because it's kind of feeling funny. And then the cops come, or then the airbags come out. We start laughing because we're like,
yeah,
that's why it's funny.
Yeah,
that's comical.
We survived. We're okay. Things are good.
Exactly. And then the cops come, and they basically arrest us and take us to their little prison. It looks like a dungeon, literally like a dungeon.
I was about to say, 'cause everything over there is like old built.
It looks like a straight up dungeon.
Okay.
They were trying to see if we're gonna have to pay the lady, but the lady for the hay, and she's like, no, don't worry about it. And then we bust out our badges, and they're like, oh, okay. And they end up letting us go. And we asked them if we can go in the dungeon. They're like, no, you can't go in there. So
we want to go now.
Yeah. And they're like, you don't want to go in there. And we did not want to go in there.
Right.
We did, we didn't.
Right.
Whoever's down there is not having a good day.
Yeah, probably not.
And then they took a bunch of pictures with us. You know, we're like, yeah, we're American.
Yeah.
Took a bunch of pictures with us. And then we ended up like, we had no vehicle now. And everything's still closed because it's still during the siesta. Like, it don't open till like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
And so maybe even later than that. So we're like on foot trying to get to wherever, get to a train station, and then get to a like city. And on the train station, some lady's like yelling, help me, because some dude was trying to jack her. So I had to like choke him out. And then the cops came and got him. And then like, I'm like, man, this is crazy. And then like, we're looking for like a place to stay because we're like, all right, it's dark. We lost Vigilla. We're seeing this guy. They own the Larry kennels in Italy. His name was Vigilla. We didn't have his number. So I'm like trying to go online, but that is like, it's not like now where you can just look up stuff. I mean, you have to pay people for like an hour on the internet to do it. This is probably like 2007-ish, maybe 2006.
Yeah.
And then some guy in the corner, in like some alleys, like, hey. And we look over, and we're like, yo, what's up? He's like, yo, y'all need a place to stay? And we're like, yeah. He's like, y'all can stay at my house. And we're like, okay, how much? And he's like, 40 euro. So we're like, all right.
Sweet.
And then we go, because they just rent their rooms out to like tourists. But, you know, as an American, I've never really gone nowhere except for military-wise at first. You're like, I've seen those movies. Are you trying to like,
yeah, you trying to jack me?
I've seen them in Hostel.
Yeah, exactly.
About to lose a kidney.
Exactly. And then me and my boy over there, he's sleeping. I'm in on little bunk beds, and I'm like, all right, bro, you got first watch, and then I'll watch. Man, he went straight to sleep. I woke up. We had like the door like blocked with all these chairs.
Right. Yeah.
Man, this little old lady came walking in. She was just cleaning the room. The chairs were moved. She was cooking us breakfast.
Dang.
And we're like, oh. Yeah, it's like that, I guess. And then they were like, yeah, okay. You know, y'all have a nice life. And we just left.
That's awesome.
And then Vigilo picked us up at the train station and went to sell the dogs. And then they took us back to the airport. And then we flew back to Macedonia. And then as we were headed to Kosovo, like we're doing the live camera interview. And then like we get up on the border, and it's like a friggin', because they don't like each other, you know, having that the fall of the Yugoslav Republic and all that stuff, you know.
Yes, they fought a few wars.
Yeah. And so they're like, yo, all of a sudden they swarm the car because they see me videotaping. So I look Albanian, I guess. I don't know what I do, but they felt I did. So they're like, come here. And I'm like, no. And they're like, give us the camera. I'm like, no. And then they're trying to reach into the car, and I'm like, yo, I'm out, guys. And I throw the camera underneath the seat, and then they grab me and take me into the back. It's just like the movies. One light, a wooden table, wooden chair, and super dark. And then like this Macedonian dude with a wife beater, and like he had his little friggin' gear on, but his little snowsuit like half off, comes in and starts asking me all these questions. And then I'm like, dude, it was crazy, bro. I could literally make a movie with this. It was so funny. And then I'm telling him like, I was just doing a live camera video interview because we're just having a good time. We're American.
Yeah.
And they're like, get out of here. And then like I walk back to the taxi, and my boy, he's talking to the cab driver. He's like, "Yo, I don't even want to know what they're doing to him in that prison. It's gonna be bad for him." And I'm like, "Yo, I'm back, guys." And then we ended up getting hemmed up like 3 more times by cops trying to get us money, and then we just ended up getting back to the base. And yeah, that was my crazy Italian trip.
I'm trying to take your money.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was a good time though. Good time.
Yeah. So where'd you go after Italy? After that was
Then I was like, all right, I gotta do some stuff, and I jumped on a contract with another government agency
Mhm.
that deals with like defense of the nation with
Yeah.
Right.
That type of stuff.
yeah, but this was like it's pretty crazy. It was cool though. It was it had to do with basically defending against missiles and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Gotcha.
and so that was cool. We got stuff everywhere,
Yeah.
and it was cool, and because they had like stuff everywhere, and it always needed to be guarded.
Right.
And they're doing all this other stuff, and so it was cool. I did that for like 3 years, and then I was like, I gotta jump onto something else, and then I started doing like security for the embassy in Kabul, Afghanistan.
Okay.
With State Department. I did that for a couple of years, and then which was cool. You know, it was that one was wild too, man. A lot of car bombings all the time.
Yeah, I was about to say.
All the time, like all the time. Like you would literally see like 100 yards away, a bunch of Italians got blown up. Like
Jeez.
just ate up, parts everywhere. You know, and then and I'm just chilling at the front of the embassy, and then like when that goes off and you can feel everything shake, and then like a big ass rock just bam hits me in the chest. I'm like, I'm glad I have my body armor on.
Yeah.
Is that where like
gone straight through?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know? And you know, then we had another one super duper crazy incident where like an 1,800-pound car bomb just blew up, and it was at our camp, and basically we had some new RSO. It was very because the State Department is very lefty, very hippie, very liberal.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, we had just built this massive pillars that like these stone pillars, basically gun positions,
Okay.
but it has the very front of our gate, and we dropped these massive T walls in. There's like a little drawbridge, and then you got more T walls, and then our compound, and that 1,800-pound car bomb just exploded. The blast hit and went up, and basically most of it went up in the air, and but it came back down. It knocked our chow hall like 3 feet off the ground, crushed all these buildings. If it wasn't for like all the stuff we put in, it would have like killed everybody.
Right.
Jeez.
And like a couple of years, like about like 6 years, not about 8 years later, that time flies by, but that base is, from what I heard, like got wrecked finally. Like they finally got it and like wiped it out. And but that one was crazy because so the RSO was like, we gotta take all this stuff down. We just look way too aggressive. We're here to show the Afghan people that we're their friends and be peaceful, and we're like, yeah, this guy's an idiot.
It's defensive positions. You're just
And
building a castle.
From an hour from he said, tomorrow we're gonna take this all down. Literally an hour from that, boom.
They took it down for you.
Wow.
And no, well,
Mm-hmm.
we had some Gurkhas that were inside the pillboxes, and they said they didn't hear nothing.
Really?
Yeah, but there's like a 20-foot crater. It's like 8 feet long, 20 foot deep. An Afghan tried to jump over it, fell in it, and there's water. He just disappeared. It was like, yo, he's gone.
Down to the center of the earth.
He's gone.
Wow.
And it was wild, man. Like a bunch of people got messed up. We lost some of our workers that worked for us. Their entire top house got blown off because they were working on the lights of the wall.
Right.
It just like,
above it.
and then like an Afghan took his legs, tried to run with it. I gotta go get his legs back. Be like, yeah,
What?
yeah. Took his legs, started running off with them.
Why? Was that like a common thing there?
I think they were like, we gotta bury him within
Okay.
a certain time or whatever.
Oh, okay.
But they're not your legs or no one you know.
Right. That's yeah.
You know, or like, yeah, was he trying to eat them legs?
That's a good point.
Maybe.
You don't really know what people are going
You
through.
don't really know what
Yeah.
people are going through, you know. But that was just wild, man. That was pretty cool. It's, not that, but
Yeah, not that.
That was
but-
it was you lived through that, and you're like, man, that was
yeah.
wild. That was wild. And like I was just like, for me, I was just getting out for like, we had a late night shift, and I was just she's getting in my bed, and it just blew up, and I'm just flying through the air, and I wake up, and like all this dust is everywhere, and then I got dressed like that, man.
Of course,
Like,
yeah.
I just jump up, threw my clothes on, threw my boots on, grabbed my saw, opened the door, and then we had like some South African, like, I thought we got rocketed, you know. We had South African dog handlers, and he comes running up. He's like, boo! And I'm like, yo, I don't speak South African. He's like, oh, you know, we just got hit by rockets. So I'm like, all right. Like, I'm in the last hooch, and we got like, it was crazy because when I got in my bed, the light, like the window, I could see the energy blast come straight through the window. Like,
Wow.
I could just see it. Like, it was like a light. And that was the blast. And then all of a sudden, like, I just flying through there. And all of a sudden, it's dusty. And then jump up, like, bookshelves fell on me and pushed that off me. Or not bookshelf, but the little wool locker that we have. Pushed that off me, got dressed real quick, jumped out there. And I'm like, oh, man, about to open this door. I got to prepare myself because I thought we got rocketed. And all my boys probably all got in their beds, and they're in the hooches that are, like, lined up to the right of me. So I'm going to open my door and prepare myself. Open it. Nothing. I was like, oh, what was that? Then everyone's yelling like, "Oh, car bomb at the gate! Car bomb at the gate!" You know.
Right.
But then we're thinking like, you know, the Afghans like to blow up the gate and then drive a vehicle full of people in there and start shooting up the place. So now everyone's running to the gate, getting online and basically preparing themselves for that. But nothing happened. It was like, all right, there's just one car bomb. But yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That's insane. So was that a fairly common thing for them to try to break through the front line like that? Or was that just like a one-time thing that happened?
I mean, it was more of a target of opportunity. I don't think they were aiming at us.
Okay.
There was a joint coalition base, like European base, that was further up.
Okay.
And I think they were trying to hit that.
Right.
But the traffic had pushed it so far out, it was right in front of ours. And then it just
went off.
But it's crazy because we have some Swedes that were like literally right next to it. They were in up armored, those Mercedes-Benz up armored vehicles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they were ate up, but they lived, all of them.
Really?
And they were right next to that vehicle.
Hey, Mercedes-Benz is worth that money then.
Oh, yeah. You know, that up armored Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah.
It was worth it, every penny for them, you know.
Yeah, seriously. That's crazy.
Interesting times, you know. Kabul is nasty, though. Like, it's
right.
Nasty. Like, you go outside, and, like, the second you get to Afghanistan, man, because I was down in Kandahar, and it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Air's fresh, perfect. And then I'm over in Kabul, and it's in a mountain range. Like, so they burn everything. They're burning all the trash, burn all the tires.
Right.
And so nothing escapes.
It's all smoggy and sandy.
And you're outside the city. You can see, it looks like, there's a show, like Something Wicked This Way Comes. It was a movie back in the 80s. And we just see like the clouds like black. Like that's how this was. You're like, jeez. Like we had to drive back into that and like breathe that. Like your nose, you're coughing up black stuff.
Right.
It's just nasty. It's insane. And it's the second you get off the plane there, your lungs are on fire, your nostrils are on fire. I'm like, yeah, that probably knocked off some time of my life there. Probably like, they say like for every 5 years you spend, take away like 2 years or something like that.
Jeez.
When you're over there, it's bad.
That's insane.
How long were you over there?
I did 5 years with them.
Okay. So you were in Kandahar before you went?
No, that was I did that with a different agency.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was some years later.
Oh, okay.
I ended up I had a blood clot.
Oh, okay.
So it was I was just chilling, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was just manning the gun truck, just hanging out, chilling. And all of a sudden I start feeling kind of funny.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I just feel weird. I tell my boys, like, yo, there's something wrong. And I felt like I had like a needle stabbing my chest. And then it felt like someone cut my pec open and was pulling out like a rubber band. And then and I'm like 29 at this time. And then I couldn't open my hand.
Oh.
And it was like starting to like constrict, like there's no blood. I basically had a blood clot that was in my heart. And so this went on for like 7 days before they finally took me to a European hospital, and they were like, did x-rays, and they're like all flipping out, going crazy.
Yeah.
And I told my boys, like, yo, man, I think I'm having a heart attack. And they're like, there's no way. Like, you're in better shape than all of us. I was like, yo, if I die, just roll me in the gutter for the dogs. we had all the pet dogs
Yeah.
around there, and I was like, just let them eat me. I love them, and I at least give them one last meal. And so they were laughing, but then the Europeans were just freaking out. I'm like, why is everyone freaking out? And they're just like, yo, you're like about to die.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so, long story short, the doctors think like I had a deep vein thrombosis, developed in my leg, and then went to my heart. I guess when I stood straight up and
okay.
went to the little gun turn, it just like went from the leg to the heart, whatever.
Right.
But then like it didn't collapse the heart because, man, I probably drank like 5 or 6 Red Bulls that day. But they're saying that's the thing that saved my life.
Well, they got to
Really?
Because it caused the artery that it clotted to like be open. And so it didn't fully, if it would have not caused it to, be open, larger than normal, it would collapse the heart. And I'd be dead. So I'm like, yo, Red Bull did not give me wings. It saved me from getting wings.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
That is pretty crazy.
And then they flew me over to Bagram, and then from Bagram to Longstool, and then they're like, but then like whatever they gave me in the plane, it dissipated. So when we got to Bagram and they had to do a quick heart cath, it was gone.
Okay.
So I got lucky and like no heart damage. They're like, you're never ever contract again. I'm like, that's not true.
Yeah.
I ended up going contract for a different government agency a couple of years after that.
Okay.
Did
So
that for 10 years.
Did you have to take some time off those couple years?
Well, I went home and I was like, I got to figure out life.
Yeah.
A lot of crazy stuff happened in between. And then I ended up like, one of my boys was like, yo, apply for these people. And I was like, all right. And I applied for it, and then took a while for my clearance to go through because clearances don't cross over.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and that's different agents have different clearances,
Gotcha.
And so, though I had a top secret clearance before, and then I had, secret, it went from top secret to secret, and then that was with like State Department.
Right.
That's not going to transfer over to any other agency.
Okay.
So
Okay.
they had to do their own investigation.
So when someone says that they have top secret clearance, it's really only for one specific agency.
Probably for one specific agency.
Okay.
And that's another reason why, like they say, like during 9/11, like all these agencies couldn't communicate with each other,
right?
Because they have different.
That makes sense. They don't share that information.
Yeah, they're not sharing that information. And so then they were like, all right, you got an invitation to come try out for this job.
Yeah.
And they're going to tell you what it is. Then you go do this trial. You do a PT. They take you out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And you do your PT test, or you do a bunch of written tests, like a bunch of written tests, and then you do your PT test, and then you do all your shoot quals. And if you make it, then they tell you, like, the people that didn't make it, they have them go home. The people that made it, they tell you what it is, who it is. You're like, whoa, and then you just go do it.
Yeah.
So I did that for 10 years, and it was cool.
That's pretty.
Made a lot of money.
Oh, I'm sure.
Wasn't always the smartest with it, but
right.
It was a very interesting experience. I got to see how the sausage is made when it comes to global politics and stuff.
Right.
Like that. So
yeah,
it was interesting.
Okay.
Learned a lot.
Oh yeah.
So if we circle back to Kandahar, I'd like to hear more about just the area in general.
So Kandahar is pretty awesome.
Okay.
And that was with this group of people, this government agency.
Right.
It was just pretty awesome. Our camp had a massive mountain range in the middle of it.
Oh, that's cool.
One guy got fired from base jumping off of that mountain range.
What?
Yeah.
Don't blame him.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, these people that I was working with were all, former military and all from different walks of life.
Yeah.
Some are basic infantry, some are rangers, some are special forces, some are, whatever.
Yeah.
Navy SEALs, PJs, whatever,
Yeah.
And so they just do wild stuff.
Yeah.
And, this camp over there was pretty awesome, gun ranges galore, and, you're driving your little quads all over the place, having a good time. And then sometimes you're like, all right, though we just have unlimited ammo and just do ranges and do fun stuff all day long, I'm still bored. So let me just go jump off this mountain.
He just had to scratch that itch.
Yeah. And then he got sent home.
Yeah.
So that was it for him.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, he'd been looking at it since he got there, like, I'm gonna jump off this thing.
So it was cool, but there was we got to see like you can see a castle that belonged to Alexander in the count.
Really?
And then you'll see a bunch of like walls that were old stone walls that were made to keep the locals out.
Right.
That were literally from Alexander's day.
Right, because he established a lot of Greek cities when he conquered all of that.
And you had like little there's like this little on the side of the mountain. It was just like this little area that was like probably like it looked like it was probably some type of like little camp for them.
Right.
But it's like old. All this stuff has just been around since then.
Centuries.
Right.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was pretty awesome actually.
That's really cool.
And so Kandahar, man, like it's crazy, man, because so in America, man, we take a lot of stuff for granted. We really do.
Yeah.
You know, all these people that say they're poor in luxury goods and not really poor.
Right.
Yes.
Like, you know, you haven't seen poor until you go to Kandahar, Afghanistan. Then you see poor. These people are living. They literally make their houses out of bricks, mud bricks that they make that day. And they get like I don't know how they get a window, but they get a window, throw it up in there. They throw tinfoil with rocks. They throw tinfoil on the top and put rocks to hold it down. Okay. Know? Same with Syria, you know. Like these people are like, and then a hole to use the bathroom in.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know. And you'll see, like, I sat on a little cliff and just watched these kids play with a friggin' stick and a tin can for like hours, just having a good time. They were just happy.
Yeah.
You know, that was like the best thing for them.
Yeah.
You know? Think American kids are gonna do that?
No, not anymore.
No. You know, kids don't even go outside no more.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, when I was growing up, we had like neighborhood kids and we'd just make forts and we'd go to war with the other neighborhood kids.
Yeah, yeah.
Have bottle rocket wars.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Climb through the woods.
My dad used to lock us outside during the summer. He's like, "Don't come back," you know. And we had a good neighborhood, you know, lots of kids, lots of families, and that's the way it should be, you know. It takes a village to raise a child, and that's you know, it makes a difference when you have that village around. I mean, they're definitely not as fortunate as we are, but that little glimmer of the simplicity of life, I think, is the one thing that Americans miss.
No.
Big time now. Please continue though. Kandahar.
It was just a cool little place. Especially the base we're at. Like it was they had like I can't remember his name because as I'm getting older in age, I forget all these terrorists and all these other war fighters and all this stuff from, you know, the ages. But I know one of these Al Qaeda guys had their little base right there, and they ended up dropping a bomb and killing his kid. I can't remember his name, but when all the Afghan stuff was kicking off, and so that was cool that was there and stuff like that, you know. Yeah. And it was cool. This base was massive, like thousands of acres. Wow. Thousands of acres. It was cool. I mean, you had packs of roaming dogs on this base, like hundreds of them, you know. And it was awesome, man. It was cool. It was a cool time.
That's really cool. So did you ever hear any rumors, any stories about the Kandahar giant?
You know,
it's a huge topic right now.
It is a huge topic.
It really is everywhere.
Well, you know, I would ask the locals because we had our own little people, and you know, as I'm on my quad going from station to station, you know, because you have security, you have outer security and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
So I'd talk to these people, and you know, there'd be an interpreter there, and I would have him ask questions, and I'll tell them like they'd ask me questions, and I'll tell them like I'm looking for a jinn. Right. And they're just like, you see their eyes change. Yeah. Their facial features change. They're like, what do you know about jinn? And I'll show them a picture. Yeah. I show them a picture of like reptilian. Yeah. I was like, what's that to you? He's like, that's a jinn. Really? I was like, yo, I seen one of these. And they were like, what? I was like, yeah, I'm here to hunt this thing. And they're like, yo, this guy's crazy. Like, yeah, it's funny, man. It's funny. And so I'd ask them questions like that. Right. And none of them ever mentioned giants. Right. You know? But they had mentioned like stuff like that. Yeah. You know? I thought it was kind of interesting. Yeah, because it seems like the rest of the world compared to America, the rest of the world is so open and understanding of, I guess, the paranormal or spiritual world. And I don't think either of those terms really even cover it. But they're so much more, their paradigm is so much bigger than the average Americans into believing those things.
Because they don't have the material things to distract them.
Well, since we're going there, you know, and since, you know, I've already gotten a little crazy anyway, I'm going to drop it off. Man, I've seen an angel before. I've seen demons. I've seen a reptilian. I've seen a UFO. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff. I'm just going to say it.
Okay.
I even had a conversation with an individual who was high up in that agency that I actually would work for.
Mhm.
And because he came in, I was like outside the skiff and I was watching this little program and he comes in and he's like, what is that? Is that like the Q drop QAnon? I'm like, no, sir. Because I know like, he was very anti-Trump and all that stuff.
Right.
I personally, in my opinion, I think he was more of a controlled opposition type thing.
Gotcha.
I never bought into that. And I'm like, sir, because he's older. So I was like, you remember that show, Ripley's Believe It or Not? And he's like, oh, yeah, I love that show. And I'm like, it's kind of like that, except modern day. He's like, okay, cool. And it was about, like, basically monsters, aliens, all that stuff, And I'm like, sir, I'm going to be honest, and I don't care how crazy it makes me sound. That bump in the night, I guarantee you that's something.
Yeah.
And right as he's about to go into the skiff, he turns and looks at me and he's like, oh, yeah. If the American public knew it was really out there, they wouldn't sleep at night. And I'm not talking about terrorists. And I'm like, whoa, sir. I don't need to know anymore because I don't want a mysterious Clinton death.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
that's right.
But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And this guy, I mean, his dad helped start the Star Wars program in the United States.
Really?
Interesting.
And so, and no one liked him. I was like his only friend. I liked him. I thought it was cool, but he just would enforce the rules on the base. And he ran the base, but he did not let people just,
He had the job of being the bad guy, so it's all right. Someone's got to do it.
So no one liked him, but I thought it was cool. And I don't think he liked me, but I'd just make him talk to me.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yo, I don't care. I'm going to make him talk to me. I'm going to make him be my friend.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
That's crazy.
It was crazy, but like, he's a serious guy.
Right.
So for him to say something like that, like, and then now you see what's going on.
Yeah.
Aliens, even though I think they're demons or interdimensional type beings, which are still demons. Whatever,
Right.
I'm with you.
And all this disclosure because it's
Right.
coming.
Yep.
I'm going to let you know.
I saw something today that
It is.
it's allegedly going to get disclosed.
Something, and it again, or fake disclosure, whatever.
Right.
Because it's order out of chaos.
Yes.
They create the problem.
Story.
Yep.
So they implement the pre-planned solution.
Yep.
And so there's just more than what we know. And I've seen stuff with my own eyes. Like I've seen
So
a reptilian.
What was the first one that you saw? I know you're out of like the angel demon.
And here's the crazy part, right? When I started working for these people, a lot of that crazy stuff I experienced just stopped.
Really? That is interesting.
So I was partly thinking it was going to be the opposite, but no, that.
And then, kind of weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
It's like you came under some sort of covering, if you will.
Yeah.
That really is what it sounds like.
Yes. And so, which I'm like, I shouldn't have said that because I'm like, okay, now I'm going to send some more after you. I'm like, yo, I'm protected by Christ, my Lord.
That's right.
Christ
The ultimate
King,
covering.
baby. Let's go.
That's
it.
Let's go. And so it was crazy. So one time, and I know people say certain things, but I was in Fellowship Christian Athletes in high school, and we're at this event, and it was like, it's at some Catholic church or something like that. And everyone's singing, and I swear, man, I just had I felt this energy that I've never really felt before. And then I heard God's voice, not in my own head. It's not like the voice in my head. I was saying kneel and repent.
Wow.
And so I just started crying. I started crying. And but it was like an energy that just came over me.
Yeah.
And a voice that just told me to kneel and repent. And then whenever I was crying, it was like an energy that was around me telling me, it's okay, my son.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest thing in the world,
Yeah.
And, but it was like this weird peace, complete peace that I've never really felt in my life. An undescribable peace. And I felt that peace the second time when I basically had an encounter with this angel. I was in Barbados, and I just got word that my buddy killed himself, and I was sad. I was crying. And then I went out that night and had a bunch of drinks.
Yeah.
And then came back to my room, and I got a bottle of whiskey, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna just sit here and just drink it. I thought I'd drink this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting against a wall, just sitting there. I hadn't even opened it yet. And this floating entity comes out of the wall. It looked perfect. It looked white, but not like a white person. Like it was just a white entity. It didn't look, it looked neutral in gender. Yeah. It looked perfect. It was so beautiful you couldn't tell what it was.
Yeah.
And it did not have wings, but it had energy flowing around it.
Right.
And it was not walking on the ground. It was kind of like hovering. And I was like shocked.
Right.
And it came towards me, and then it kind of went through me, but like this peace came over me.
Yeah.
Just like I experienced in that church like 4 or 5 years ago.
Like it was reassuring you that it was okay.
And it told me that, hey, don't worry, Oliver's okay.
Wow.
You know? And I didn't end up opening that bottle. And I just woke up the next morning like, I kind of just like, it said, peace be still, or peace be still, or peace be with you. And then it just told me like, Oliver's okay. There's no reason to be upset. And like, it was this, again, that undescribable peace. I've never, those 2 times were the first times I've ever experienced that level of perfect peace.
Right.
You know? Yeah. True story.
That's incredible. Peace that passes all understanding, right? That's what it would be.
And it's like I would, you know, they say like, I never wish that on my worst enemy. I wish that peace on everybody because it was the most extreme peace. If for the one time in your life you feel perfect and you feel like nothing is wrong, not because you're perfect, but because life is just like just perfect.
Yeah.
Everything is just perfect peace.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest thing in the world.
That's amazing. And that was when you were in the Marines.
That's when I was in the Marines.
Okay.
You know. Yeah. And then it gets crazier.
So where's the time that you first see a demon, right? And do you consider like a demon the same as a reptilian or other things in that nature? Do you categorize them all as demonic, or do you think that there's other categories in that regard? Before we start diving into it too far,
I think there's other categories because they say that demons are nothing but the embodied spirits or the unembodied spirits, disembodied spirits of the giants, the Nephilim that were killed. You know, and part of that punishment was that they were just going to roam without a body until God returns.
Yep.
You know, but a lot of people fail to realize also in the book of Enoch it talks about what happened to the women.
Yes, it does.
You know, they were judged as well, and they were turned into sirens.
Yes, they were cursed to be sirens.
Cursed to be sirens. You know, people seem to leave that part out or not acknowledge it. You know, but I don't know, man. Like, and I'm, you know, I got Apache blood in me, and I got some Ashkenazi as well. So I don't know. I got all kinds of like spiritual stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know where it comes from.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy. I've held top secret clearance. I held multiple clearances for multiple agencies.
Yeah.
I worked for one of the top level agencies in the world for 10 years.
Yeah.
You know,
if you were crazy, you would know.
Hey, I've had plenty of experiences and seen things that I cannot explain.
Well,
but yes, we want to hear your story.
and here's the thing, you know, whenever people feel like they won't be judged, you know, then they were like, you know, I've experienced this.
Yep.
I've experienced it. Well, why don't you talk about it?
Yep.
You're afraid what people are going to say to you.
Yep.
You're afraid people are going to be thinking you're crazy? Like this.
Yep.
There's just no way, man. Like, example, right? So me and my mom, I just got out the Marine Corps, you know, took her to Walmart. I was staying with my parents for just staying with them a little bit, and then I ended up buying a house. But taking her back from Walmart back to her house, and then she screams out, "Oh my God, son, look, it's the devil," in Spanish. Ooh. Ay, Dios mío, hijo mío, es la diablo. And I'm just like, what the? And I see a friggin' lizard person in the bushes right outside my parents' house.
What?
We're driving a Jeep Liberty, and the lights just shined on it. And this thing was like in the movie Signs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How it's in the friggin' cornfield.
Yeah.
This thing tried to move out the light. And so me and my mom are 2 separate beings. How did she see it first? This little old Mexican lady screamed out, "Oh my God, son, it's the devil." Then I see the exact same thing. Because, you know, they try to be like, "Oh, it's mass hysteria." You just, get that out of here. You're just dumb and trying to friggin' tell us some kind of BS because you don't want to acknowledge the truth.
That's right.
Like, she's seen it, I seen it. How do we see the same thing?
Yeah.
It wasn't a shadow because you shine the light and it moved.
Well, I jump out. I have a croquet mallet in the back of the Jeep. I jump out. I run up to this thing, and as I get from like 3 feet from it, it literally crosses into the other side. Then my mom starts screaming even louder because this thing moved.
Gone.
And like I'm looking through the bushes to see where it crossed through, and like these bushes are like a fence. Basically, you're just shaving them down so like a wall.
Right.
And there was no way for it to get through. It literally walked through it like it had no mass in its body. It could just walk through bushes like it's walking through walls.
Right.
And using the croquet mallet to try to find the opening because I'm going in right after it.
Yeah.
And by this time I was like young, probably 26, maybe 25, pretty like diesel. I was benching 375.
Yeah.
And I did that like 5 times, so I don't even know what my max was at the time. I was a young Marine, just jacked, man.
You're ready to strap this guy.
Yeah,
I was ready for
a fight.
Yeah, I was ready to throw down. And my mom's like, "Get away, get away!" And I told her, I was like, "No, Mom, I'm gonna kill this thing."
Yeah.
And I was like, at first I thought it was like a burglar,
right?
And then I'm like, "What the?"
It's hard to process.
So what did it?
It's hard. It was hard to process it because I thought it was a burglar, but it was like OD green, super skinny. And then I thought like, okay. Is there like, cause you got all kinds of stuff in this area out here.
Yeah.
You got the Ranger base out here. You got where they do the 3rd phase. You got Eglin Air Force Base.
Yep.
You got Herbert Field. You got all these other stuff. Other people have stuff out here.
Yeah.
There's everything out here. And so I'm just like, are they like, because the government will straight have a guy in a suit and just have him walk around, test things.
For
That's
sure.
how they just test stuff out in the open.
Yep.
Because you're not expecting to see that.
Yeah.
And where do you hide things? In plain sight, because no one expects to see that.
Right.
It just blends in, so let's just test out this suit. Go out there and so I'm like, is this a guy in a suit? Like, and we just happen to like, catch him.
Yeah.
Like SF Special Forces, they have their people go out in town, go to bars, go to restaurants, and just do like operations.
Yeah.
They're training. But they're doing stuff like that. So I'm thinking like, and I'm young. 20, 25, 26, thinking like, is this guy, like, is this what that is? Like, nah, this might be a burglar. Then I'm like, no, this thing has like, it's probably like 6'6", super skinny, muscle. It had like 4 fingers that were long. It had no tail. It was OD green. I'm like, and then it's trying to hide from the bushes. Like I can see half of it. And it just, when I get like 3 feet from it, it just walks right over.
Wow.
That walks through the bushes. So I walk up looking for it. I can see it on the other side of the bushes because there's probably about 1.5 foot of bushes in between us. And I can see its face, like half its face and its eyes is breathing heavy. And this thing's looking at it, had like smooth skin. And it's looking at me like, why isn't this hairless monkey scared of me? Right. Like, it wasn't threatening. It was more of like,
almost like, shocked. Why can you see it?
It was kind of shocked. Like, like why can I see it and why am I not scared of it?
Right.
I was actually trying to. I kind of felt bad afterwards actually because I was like, man, this guy actually might be kind of cool, and I'm over here.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm like, yo.
About to bash his head.
Yeah. I told my mom, I'm like, yo, I'm about to kill this thing and I'm gonna be famous. I'm gonna kill this alien. I told her straight up, like, I'm gonna kill this alien and I'm gonna be famous. Like, and this thing would have ate me up, like not me, but like it would have like it looked powerful, like it probably. And I was strong and I was big. But it looked like it probably could have smacked my head off with just one smack. Like it looked like it was strong and even though it was skinny, it looked powerful. And it wasn't threatening. Okay. It wasn't being aggressive in any manner whatsoever. It was just kind of like, why aren't you scared of me?
Yeah.
And so then you hear it breathe in. I run around to the other side of the bushes, and as soon as I cross the bush line, the friggin' motion sensor lights kick on.
Okay.
And then I'm like. And I go up to where it's at. There's nothing there. And that neighbor had like a fence, and then she had a lattice that was nailed to the fence, so it was even higher. And it had like all these roses and thorns everywhere, and it was a good 10 feet, 11 feet high.
Right.
So it didn't jump over that.
Yeah.
It could have probably. This thing was,
Right.
I didn't hear it jump over. I didn't hear it jump onto the roof.
Yeah.
And then like I'm yelling for mother to go. Did it cross over? She said no. And then like I'm like. What? It just disappeared.
Interesting.
And then I go back over there, and I'm like, Ma, it's gone. And she was like, let's not tell nobody. I was like, I'm telling everybody. That was a reptilian.
just crazy.
Yeah.
Or like, did it have like like chameleons do, and do something like that, or did it jump over the fence? I mean, there's so many
don't know.
options.
I know.
That's crazy.
Go through the
But-
dimensional veil.
Yeah, did it cross over to
it
another
could've been-
dimension?
But you hear all this stuff like, there's all kinds of like, so there's a lot of stuff that you hear on the internet about
Yeah.
reptilians.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And one of my buddies, he works for an agency,
Uh-huh.
and he didn't know I knew, but I knew because some of my people, we talked about it, and
Yeah.
Mhm.
a mutual friend told me, and so I would ask him questions, and this guy's like a genius, egghead, smart dude. So I'm like, I believe that he probably works for those people because he's
Right.
super smart. And so I just asked him like, hey man, what do you know about reptilians? And he's living in DC, he's working.
Oh, yeah,
And he's
yeah.
just like, oh, we're told we're not allowed to talk about them. And I was like,
Really?
really? Yeah. He was like, yeah, we're told we're not allowed to talk about them. I was like, okay, interesting. And I mean, that's just like side conversation. But,
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of interesting. And then,
Yeah. Like, why
Strange answer.
why can you not talk about them?
I
Like,
know.
what's the harm, kind of thing? Obviously, there's some harm in it.
And so, and then, of course he says, we hear like, all these people are related to him, all this stuff. And
Mhm.
he's telling me all this stuff. And I'm like, interesting. But then like, you hear all this stuff, like how aggressive they are,
Yes, you hear that a lot.
how they basically eat babies,
Yep.
eat people,
They're
do
violent.
all dismissing people,
Right, the missing 411 cases.
Missing
A lot of
411
people attribute
cases.
that to the lizard people, that they are taking them down underground and devouring them, or worse.
They think
Right.
that, or maybe Bigfoot or Dogman,
Right,
stuff
yes,
like that.
yep, yep.
Mothman,
Yep.
maybe not so much Mothman,
Right.
but just cryptid type
Cryptid,
stuff.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
some type creature.
And so, but this thing was not aggressive.
Yeah.
It was just me and my old mother. Like it could have just killed me within seconds, and then like kill her.
Yeah.
And
Did you get a look at its eyes, the color of the eyes, or anything?
I did not notice the color of its eyes because
Okay.
it was kind of dark.
Right.
But there's some light on the other side because it's like a street light.
Mhm.
I could see a little bit, and I could just see that it looked like OD green, and then the lights from my Jeep were still on.
Right.
And then actually it was my brother's Jeep, but my little brother's. Like
Yeah.
I ended up when my dad sold my car. I get off on like, excuse me, I just jump from story to story.
No, you're fine.
Like my dad sells my car. Like I had a '94 Cavalier, and I go do the Marine Corps thing, and I come back and leave. I'm like, yo, where's my car? He's like, yo, you don't need it. You're in the Marines now. You'll be all right. You just have to ride the bus, the 40. I think it's 405. I'm like, what? So yeah, so I ended up like not having a car for a minute, and every time I contract, I just rent a car.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, whatever. But so I was driving my brother's little Jeep. So I could see the lights on the thing on the lizard. I mean, I could see the skin on the lizard.
Mhm.
It was like OD green, and it was like smooth. I could see it look kind of like, to me, it kind of looks, I guess, scaly, like
Right.
a snakish, but it was just
Okay.
like, it was just smooth. I remember it being smooth. I remember it breathing.
Kind of like how alligator bellies are.
No,
No.
more like just like
Like
a
snake
snake
skin.
skin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I could see its eye, but I couldn't really see the eye color. And
Yeah.
this happened, but this is probably in like 2006, maybe 2005. So 2006 maybe. I can't remember like all the details too much because
Right.
getting older. But it was still kind of weird,
Yeah.
But it was not aggressive. I just remember it had like 4 fingers. It was long, skinny,
No tail.
no tail. I remember it had
Okay.
no tail, no like wings or anything
Did-
like that, no
did
appendages.
Any weird features on the head?
No.
It was bald.
Bald,
I remember
okay.
it was
Bald head.
bald head.
Any ears or anything like that you could see? I know it was dark.
I can't remember. I just know his skin was smooth. It was bald headed.
Right.
Between all of us and whoever's going to listen to this.
Yeah.
You remember Matt? Do you
Yeah.
remember Matt?
Yeah, I remember Matt.
No, not
Scottish.
not Scottish Matt. No, you met Paul Matt. You have fighter Matt. Matt McKeon.
Yes, I believe so. I think once.
So it looked kind of like him,
Okay.
but green. And I thought that was Matt at one point.
Yeah,
Just
because
Yeah.
it reminded
because
you.
he lives like right around the corner from
Mhm.
Okay.
my parents' house. He
Yeah.
used to live there, and I was like, "Is that Matt in the bushes?" you know?
You just spray painting himself up.
You know? And it wasn't, but like,
Yeah.
it's just like, just long and muscular and like,
Right.
you know? So I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
It was nuts, man. That was like a crazy experience, man. But that wasn't the first time.
So that wasn't the first thing
I had one more run into with that
with reptilian.
yeah.
Really? So
Yeah.
what happened with this one?
So I was dating this chick, and I swear, man,
She was a reptilian.
I swear she turned into a hooded lizard.
Hooded lizard? Like, okay.
Well, here's the crazy part, right? And I know this sounds crazy, but like, everyone's like, yo, this guy's crazy.
No, anything is possible. Absolutely anything is possible in this
I
world.
just like the image of this that I have in my head.
So you see there's like I was listening to something online. It was about like the Emerald Tablets of Hoth or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in that, he's talking about these reptilians,
Mhm.
you know, and how they can like they shapeshift and like their form. They can't keep their form when it comes to like sound, vibration, and then something else,
Right.
you know. And we're at this little concert, and what's at a concert? Vibration.
Right.
And I'm just drinking my drink, and I look over, and she's talking to me, and before you know it, she kind of like fades out, and it's like a lizard person with a hood on, and in those things he talks about, they wear hoods, and it's like a Jedi Knight type hood,
Yeah.
and it was like that, and it was a straight up lizard person. And I stood there, looked at her in shock, and she's like, "What's wrong, babe? What's wrong?" I'm like, "I'm drunk."
Right.
And I was drinking my drink, and then it just like faded out, and then faded right back. And but that was just weird, man. But she had a lot of issues, like
Right.
partying, drinking, just doing
Okay.
like drugs, all this stuff. So then after experience, no, I didn't do all that stuff, but that, you know,
Yeah.
then that kind of made me wonder, like looking back,
Yeah.
are they demons?
Right.
You know,
Is that something
was
that she
possessed
is?
by
Right.
a demon?
Right. Or in partnership, giving herself over to, not possessed, but like oppressed, possibly,
there you
without
go,
even
oppressed.
realizing that she's
Yes.
partnering with this thing and
Yes.
giving herself over to the darkness.
Yes.
That's fascinating.
Crazy, right?
Yes.
And I mean, we literally probably like dated for like 2 weeks. It was just a party, mess around party, all that stuff, you know. And
but that was the only time that you saw
that was the only time I saw that.
kind of the curtain being pulled back.
Yes, but then again, you hear all these people like, you know, Britney Spears saying that, you know, some exec turned into a lizard.
Right.
You had boy from Smashing Pumpkins, the lead singer, saying
Yes.
that he was talking to the dude
Yep.
turned into a lizard.
Yep.
You know, someone said about Jeffrey Epstein turning into a lizard.
Right.
That lady on the plane a few years ago seeing lizards.
You know, dude, she turned into a lizard. And then I wish I could show you the camera. I got a picture I'll show you, but I saw this picture online. I was like, yo, that's exactly what she looked like. No.
So did she look similar at all to the one that you and your mom saw?
No.
No, so completely different.
Completely different.
Now that's interesting as well. So there's different kinds of them. Possibly.
Well, it was, well, again, she looked different because she had a hood on and she was smaller.
Right. Okay.
And, but that thing was tall.
Right.
Like you know, this thing was probably like maybe 5'8".
Okay.
Where that one was like super tall.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm assuming that one was probably female, where the other one was like male.
Right.
So I'm thinking there's definitely probably gender to it.
Right. So what skin color was when you
that
got
one
the
was
glimpse?
more of a muddier
Okay.
brown.
That's interesting.
Not like OD green
Yeah.
color. That was more like a muddy brown, like just a mud brown color.
Okay.
You know, with a little bit of greenish.
Right.
And it was weird, man, because it kind of like faded in for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then faded out. And I was just like, and with the crazy part, man, my mom didn't like her.
Yeah.
My mom met her once, and she was like, I don't like her because she's a lizard.
Really?
I know, right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I know, right?
It's almost like someone was just allowing you to kind of see, like, hey, there's more to this person than what you know, and kind of giving you that red flag, you know, pulling the curtain back just a little bit so you could see and kind of be like, maybe I don't need to be around this chick.
She was definitely not a good influence, you know.
Right.
She's going through a lot of issues.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I heard she turned her life around,
Well, that's awesome.
Super into fitness and,
Yeah.
turned her life around into God, fitness. So, hopefully whatever was attached to her, and that's it could have been attached.
Right.
It could have been
Yes.
attached. Like,
For sure.
there's just weird stuff like that, man.
100%.
A lot of people might not believe in it, but like
It's very real.
It's real.
Very real. Family curses, things with bloodlines, it transfers, and it is definitely more real than people give credit to and credence to.
100%. But that was like, and those were only two experiences that I encountered, like a reptilian type creature.
Right.
But it was weird, like, because like I never believed in none of this stuff, to be honest. I was a Christian, but I didn't believe in this stuff.
You don't really think about seeing that until it actually happens.
Yeah.
You know that it might be out there or could be a possibility, but I feel like you don't really truly understand that. No, it's close to us. It interfaces with us on a daily basis.
It can affect you at any time.
Exactly. Until you experience it, I don't know if you truly believe or understand that it's there.
No. And it was now also in full disclosure. Now, because this was during the time when I was recovering from what happened to me with a blood clot and stuff like that.
Right.
So of course, like, they had been all kinds of like medication and stuff like that.
Right.
And so could it have been something to that, because this medication's crazy, nowadays. Possibly.
Sure.
Or could that medication have been making me able to see what's behind the veil?
That's also true. It's what they say with like mushrooms or what's the one that everybody goes to Peru to do? Ayahuasca.
Well, and see, the first time when I saw that thing with Mother, no, I was perfectly healthy.
Right.
But this time with her,
right.
Yeah, I was like on a bunch of medication for my heart and all that stuff, But nah.
Because like all of those things, those heavy psychedelics, there's theories that takes you into a different realm or puts you in contact with different beings. I mean, for ayahuasca, everybody sees these, I think they're blue people or something. They talk about these blue beings that talk to them and give them knowledge and things like that. And is that just a suggestive thing that they go into thinking they're going to see that and have that experience, or are they really interfacing with something else,
Hey, I forgot what that was called, what those things were called.
That whole realm. Yeah, it's a whole thing. And that's why I'm not sure.
Yeah, like there's also talking about the machine elves.
Yes.
Yep. And basically, so like they believe it's kind of like the Matrix. The world is kind of like the Matrix, And there's that whole other realm that I guess some people believe that we're just in a simulation.
Yeah. A lot of people
that our souls are somewhere else and just
like hooked up to a computer or whatever.
Pretty much.
And so suppose these machine elves and all these other things that are in that DMT realm, they run the Matrix.
Yeah.
I've never taken ayahuasca. I've had a bunch of friends that have, and they've come back very different people.
Right.
They've tried to get me to take it, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
And people understand, you're in a very vulnerable state. Say they're not going to gut you and take your organs and sell you. A lot of women were getting raped by these shamans. Because these stupid people go down there because they're like, this is going to be a trip.
Yep. I'm going to get in touch with my inner self and become one with everything and be enlightened.
He's a shaman.
Yep.
He would never do nothing to hurt me. He's an old shaman. I'm like 18, 19, 21, 22, 23.
Yeah.
College student. And he's like an old shaman.
Yeah.
He ain't going to do nothing to me when I'm completely
helpless
and vulnerable and thrown up and all that stuff,
Yep.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
Sad reality.
When did you see this UFO?
So that was kind of weird. I was out in the Pacific Ocean on a vessel I couldn't really talk about.
Okay.
And this thing is capable of picking up everything. And I saw this thing doing my patrol because you have to have like armed security in case Russians or Chinese or try to take it.
Yeah.
And so I'm just walking and I see this thing and I'm radioing to the deck, the captain's little area, telling him like, "Yo, do you see this on the side of the ship? Like, just out, there was like a little Chinese little boat, and this thing was above it, and it was like there was a movie back in the '80s with it had this little like the ship was silver, and it looked kind of like a egg that was kind of it was an '80s movie, and there was the boy that was flying the ship was on some TV program for a long time. I can't remember the name of it. And he had like on that movie, he had like a little like creature with him. It wasn't the Last Starfighter. It's and the ship talked. And it was like a silver.
I think I remember. I'm picturing the ship and the way you're describing it. It had like a tapered back end, right?
Yeah, it was a tapered front end.
A tapered. Okay, yeah.
And so this thing looked like that, but it looked like a weird orangey reddish color.
Okay.
And it was just floating over the Chinese vessel, the little fishing boat off the side of our little vessel.
Yeah.
And this thing could track anything. Nothing is untrackable from this thing.
Yeah.
And no one saw it. They were like, no, we don't track anything
up.
And this thing just stretched and just went away.
So was it glowing?
It was glowing.
Okay.
But then I Googled.
Yeah.
And a lot of people seen something similar. And I'm like,
yeah.
Huh.
Now, when it left, did it like just shoot off like instantly?
Yes.
Okay.
It was like.
Okay, so the whole body of the craft did like a stretching motion out.
Stretch and then just.
Like a slingshot.
But it was kind of like the movies.
Okay, yeah.
Just like that.
Kind of like when Star Wars going into hyperspace, right? Kind of, sort of.
Yes.
Okay.
Like you see, because not the lights.
Yeah, not the lights. When you see the ship stretch. Yeah,
it was like that. It said boom, and I'm like,
wow.
And I'm like, yo, y'all didn't see that? And they're like, yo, we didn't pick up nothing.
Wow.
And this thing can pick up anything.
Right.
It is the most sophisticated thing of its thing.
Right. Okay. So was there any windows on it or?
Oh, it's too far away.
Too far away. Okay.
It's like literally, there was a small little Chinese fishing boat, and this thing was just floating above it. It was just above it.
Wow.
And it was just glowing orange reddish.
Yeah.
Kind of like the sun, but
Okay.
like not yellow, but like the orange reddish.
And how bright was it? Was it illuminating the boat below it that you could see it really well, or just kind of like giving off that glow and illumination around
it was illuminating the boat.
Okay.
I could see that it was a vessel because it's starting to be nighttime, starting to get dark.
Yeah.
And it's just when you're out in the Pacific, there's nothing. It's just flat water.
Yeah.
You know?
Stars and the moon. That's the only light.
That's the only light. And I'm like, yo, and I'm going crazy and telling them like, yo, there's something over there. And of course, they're like looking at everything, and they couldn't pick up nothing.
Wow.
They just stretched and went away. Interesting. And like, dude, that was it. Now, could it have been one of our UFOs?
Possible.
Very possible.
Yeah.
You know, because we have stuff.
Right.
We have stuff that we've found, that we've taken, and or stuff like all these different companies like Lockheed Martin, BAE, all that stuff, probably in companies we don't even know about.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have their stuff.
Right. Their experimental craft.
And
who knows why not try it out in a remote area of the ocean over some civilian ships.
The middle of the Pacific.
China, it could be some of their stuff, who knows, But a lot of things go missing in the ocean.
That's true. That's very true. How close was this to the Dragon's Triangle, I believe it's called, or is it the Ring of Fire out there? I can't remember what area of the Pacific Ocean.
There is the Ring of Fire that's full of volcanoes.
Right. I can't remember if that is where the crazy UFOs and disappearances happen in the Pacific, because you had the Bermuda Triangle, of course, and a lot of crazy stuff's happened there. But there is one out in the Pacific somewhere. I can't remember where exactly it is.
I wouldn't even know.
Okay.
I don't think it was anywhere near that, because a lot of stuff goes missing, and this thing is way too expensive.
Gotcha. To be risking in a weird area.
Yeah.
Okay. I gotcha.
Makes sense.
This thing's massive.
Yeah.
And it just floats around.
Yeah.
Just
monitoring.
Does stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
And so they did not monitor that.
Yeah.
When stuff falls from the sky, we know because this thing tracks everything.
Right.
Which is kind of weird.
That is kind of terrifying. Wait, did you have any kind of feelings when you put eyes on it?
I was just like, actually, I started going crazy and telling them like, yo, there is something off the. I can't remember what side of the ship I was on, but I'm just telling them something off the side of the ship.
Right. And
telling them where it's at, and they're like, yo, we don't have nothing. And then I go right up there to the deck.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we didn't have nothing. I'm like, are you serious? Like, there's this massive glowing orange object over the friggin' side of that little Chinese fishing boat.
Right.
Nothing.
That's crazy.
They said they didn't have nothing. It just stretched and went away.
Wow.
But this happened. This was fast. It wasn't like probably when I saw it, it was all of like maybe 2 minutes tops.
Okay.
It wasn't there for like, it wasn't like a 5-minute thing. Like I'm like shocked that I see something. I see it there floating.
And of course, you're more occupied in calling in that there is a strange object over here. This could be an enemy, a threat.
And then it just stretched and went away.
Wow.
And then I'm like, and I just go up there and tell them. They're like, yo, we just do nothing. And they didn't even no report, no nothing. They didn't even care really. They
like, you must have been seeing something.
That's pretty much, yeah.
Right.
Like, and I was like, no, I know what I saw. That was weird. Because you're out in the middle of the ocean, there's nothing there except you.
Yeah.
And that fishing boat.
Yeah.
So I'll have to show you a video that I got when we were in the Badlands.
South Dakota, yep.
I was just filming a field of prairie dogs. I was like, oh, this looks cool. And so just filmed this little area, about 30-second clip. And then, like, that night, we got to camp, and I was just kind of looking through footage. And just in the sky, there's a vivid, like, wavy line with a ball at the end, like, that for, like, a frame goes across the sky, and then the next frame, it's, like, pointed upwards.
Yep, shoots out at, like, almost like it jettisons out of the atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
I'll show you that video.
I'll show you a video my friend sent me maybe 2 months ago. This is over Gulf Breeze. Okay. And so her and her kids are driving, and she's saying that her kids were just messing with the phone. They saw it, and they were filming it. Right. And she sent it over to me. And it was even on Facebook where they're like, yo, what is this?
Yeah.
And I've seen so right before I joined the Marine Corps, I was out hanging out, partying with some friends, and then I seen like a friggin', I guess like a shooting star, but like more like an asteroid or whatever. Yeah. Meteor. And this thing looked like a car on fire in the sky, and then it just stretched and then landed somewhere over in Mariana. Right. And then my dad ended up writing me. He's like, because I went home and I told him about it. Yeah. And then when I was in boot camp, he wrote me. He's like, yo, that turned out to be some type of like a little meteorite that crashed over Mariana. Right. And I was like, huh. So that video that she showed me, that's not that. And what I thought was not that. Yeah. Like it was totally different. Okay. And so this thing, the video that she took, it looked like a drop ship. Really? It was wild. It looked like a drop ship just straight. Wow. Down. I posted on my Facebook like a while back. I was like, yo, what is this? And then people all over Facebook posted it as well. Yeah. And like, I probably remember. I'm sure that I saw that. It is wild. I got the video, but I added some like creepy music too. Yeah. Spice it up a little bit. Got to. Yeah. Other than that, because the only thing if I took the music out would be her kid saying, "What is that, Mom? Yeah. What is that?" Yeah. Yeah. So I saw a UFO when I was in. I think I was in middle school, and I was in South Florida visiting family down there. We were all sitting out on the driveway. We've been grilling all afternoon, evening, and it was dark. And I saw this green dot just come and shoot, and it stopped. Just stopped for a split second, and then it shot again and stopped in a different spot, shot again in another spot, and then shot off, just gone. And it was 20 seconds is how quick it was, but it came to a direct stop and just hit this zigzag pattern and then just jettisoned off. And I was like, what was that? I've seen, and this was way before all the AI stuff, right. This is 10, 15 years ago, in the beginning of the internet, you know, you see videos. It had like some UFO trying to, I guess, come into the atmosphere or something like that, and then like it stopped, and as it went away, you see like a laser shoot at it and stuff like that.
Yes.
You know, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. You know, it's but again, we're not being told.
Yeah. No.
You know.
No.
But we're gonna find out real quick because they're talking about it.
Yep.
They're
gonna have to tell the people something. There's too many people questioning everything at this point.
And here's the other thing. So like I seen, and this is what people got also take into consideration. Like, you know, I moved down here summer of '89. We seen UFOs all day long. What were they? This thing was black, and it was like a boomerang.
Yeah.
Flying through the sky.
Yeah.
Oh, it turns out it's one of our little bombers.
Yes. Yeah. You know? Exactly.
And so I can't remember the name of it, but you know, it's one of the stealth bombers. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so a lot of this stuff, it could very much well be
our technology,
advanced technology that you know no one knows about.
The public always gets the government's technology decades later.
Yes. If you're seeing it right now, this is probably 50 to 100 year old technology.
Right.
You know, they got stuff that's 50 to 100 years advanced that they're not telling nobody.
Well, it's like all the old timers around here. I remember stories growing up. They used to talk about the green streaks over Eglin, and I thought they were just, you know, telling ghost stories basically. But I saw them growing up several times, and they'd just be little green, like almost like shooting stars, but it's like little green lights that just kind of come in and fade out real quick.
Probably some type of laser.
Right, exactly. I mean, you think about the things that they developed at Eglin.
Yeah.
Part of the nuke, the original bomb, you know, for World War II was developed here. So in that regard, what else have they been working on? They've only gotten more money and gotten bigger as a base.
Then you see like this was recent, like where you see like some floating completely silver bubble with like little tentacles.
Yeah, the jellyfish type.
Yeah. You know, I'm sorry, you're not telling me that that's alien.
Yeah, no,
that thing looks like it's, you know, like a bunch of kids put it together in their basement. Like these advanced civilizations that supposedly came from thousands of light years away.
Yeah.
That's what they're rolling with. Like, no. That's most likely our stuff.
Right.
Prototype stuff.
Yeah.
They're like, let's test this out and see if
see the reaction we get.
Well, not necessarily the reaction, but like
what parts of this work?
Yes. You know.
Right.
You know, they have a base. There was a video where it went through one of our secret black site bases.
Okay.
And it just went right through. I guess it cloaked or something like that, and just like went right through. And then it could see it through some type of like, I guess some type of infrared camera picked it up. Okay. But it was supposedly cloaked. This I think it was at least like a year ago or 2 years ago, and it just like went right through. And so, in my opinion, that's probably advanced military technology that they're purposely testing.
Right.
You know, a lot of these, like, I guess we fired a Hellfire missile at one couple, like less than a year ago. This video that popped up like maybe 6 months ago, I guess.
Okay.
Where like they fired a missile at it and then the missile hit it and bounced off.
Wow.
Personally, I think that's our stuff. I think they're like, yo, launch that missile. Because so you don't know what this is.
Yeah.
And you're going to launch a missile at this interstellar galactic being that has technology better than ours and start a war. Like, no, you know exactly what this is.
Yeah.
You know that is our stuff,
right,
owned by somebody, and you're trying to launch our military technology against it just to see how.
Yeah.
See how good it is.
It's a big test.
Yeah.
And most people are kind of ignorant.
Yeah.
And like they're just going to eat it up.
Yeah.
It's an alien invasion. And they're just going to eat it up.
Or they just don't care.
There's
so many people who just are just blinders on to their life and their life alone. Everything else that's happening around doesn't matter.
Or you see the meme that was like, aliens are real. It's like, man, gas is like $4, $5 a gallon. And my electric bills, I don't care.
Yep.
You know, like,
yep.
You know, because again, they've broken society.
Yes.
They've broken us by making us slaves.
Yep.
And, you know, people are just so broke mentally, emotionally, physically. All they do is just zombie themselves to work, try to get through their day.
That is the
truth.
truth.
With the least amount of problems and go back home and try to get through life at home because it might not be so great and do it all over again the next day.
It's a sad existence. We weren't meant to exist this way.
No, I agree, definitely not. But the only ones that can change that is us.
Yeah, that's right.
That's true.
That's right.
And a lot of people don't want to.
Yeah.
Look at the luxuries we have. People don't want. No one wants to give that up.
Yep.
I mean, I don't blame them.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
Well, so we go to Iraq, and it's like 130 degrees, 120 degrees at like 8 a.m. Like in the shade.
Yeah.
And we don't want to give up our AC.
Yeah.
We got AC in our cars, AC in our houses is awesome. Like,
Yeah.
you go to these other countries, they don't got that. Like
Yeah.
you just sit there and bake all day.
Yeah.
No, people, we don't want to give that up.
Right.
I don't, like I said, I don't blame us, but it's just the way life is.
Yeah. We're very privileged here in America.
Very privileged, My AC breaks down. I'm like, oh man, it's hot up in this house.
Yeah. Well, we're at an hour and a half. You want to call it here, and we plan on having you back on. I want you to know that. I feel like there's plenty more we could probably go for.
I didn't want to get too.
We hit on a lot.
Yeah, I didn't want to open the book to everything because we could talk dog men all day long. Which one of my friends saw one.
Okay.
She saw one up in Michigan, and she was freaking out. She sent me pictures, and I was like, "Yo, that's a dog man."
Yeah.
And then she was like, "What's that?" And she
explained it.
told a bunch of hunters, and they were like, "Yo, that's a dog man." And they have a Michigan. And I totally forgot. Michigan has a Michigan dog man.
Yeah.
But I got all kinds of other stories, man. I mean, it's. I'm glad you invited me, man. It's a good time.
Yeah, of course. We loved having you, and we will definitely be inviting you back on. There's plenty more to
discuss. It's gonna get wild,
especially with the disclosure coming and everything else that is happening in society. There's plenty to be had in that regard for sure.
And I'm gonna have to brush up on my conspiracies because I've been
lacking.
Well, like these other people that are just focusing on work. I came in what I worked in today. I was like,
that's awesome. Yeah.
So yeah, and I kind of. Since I'm no longer doing that other stuff, I kind of let all the politics, all life, just out the window, and just focus on going to work now.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I got you.
I'll brush up on my skills. We have more to talk about.
For sure.
I do have one more question.
Yes.
The most interesting place that you were stationed or that you went to, or your favorite place?
Let's see here.
A place you'd like to go back to? I don't know. How are we going to take it?
Well, so vacation-wise, I wouldn't mind going back to Australia so I can jump over to New Zealand.
Okay.
And when I did a little pump on the 31st New Expeditionary Unit, we went down to Australia, tandem thrust, stuff like that. Did some stuff with the Australians.
Mm-hmm.
So that was cool. Went over to Hiroshima, saw that. That was
nice.
Cool. Yeah, it was
Cool.
wild.
That's awesome.
The sand is so coarse. And I can see where it'd be hard to run into that stuff and you just get off the beach, from the point where the water is up into some actual cover, and there ain't no cover.
I was gonna say it's flat, right?
It's flat and there's the hill, but you can see everything. If you had a machine gun on the other top, there's no way you can't hit with that.
Yeah.
It is wild because when you get up there, we're looking everywhere yo, you're screwed. All these machine gun bunkers that were up in here, there's no hiding.
Yeah.
It's wild. So, but I would say, I kind of liked Afghanistan, Kandahar area.
Right.
It felt like Tatooine.
Okay.
Really? Okay.
It felt like Tatooine.
That's cool. I like that comparison.
Yeah, it was cool. You felt like you were on a whole nother planet.
Right.
Basically. So
that's awesome.
Very cool.
And I didn't see any place that looked like the videos that NASA puts out with their rover.
that is rumors. They be faking those videos and pictures.
Yeah. We'll get to that one next time.
Yeah, for sure. We'll hit on that next time, most definitely.
Well, yeah, that was fun.
Yes, it was.
Thank you, guys. I'm glad that I got to be y'all's first episode.
Yeah. We figured we'd kick it off with we figured you'd be a fun guest. So
set the standard high.
If you don't see me, because someone in black knocked on my door yo, you gotta come with us. It was great knowing you guys.
That's right. If we lose contact with you, we know what happened.
You know why? Exactly. They'll never abandon my dogs.
That's right.
Yeah,
preach.
We don't know what happened. He just left. He left his guns, left his dog.
Two things I know that if you left those behind, the guns and the dogs, there's a big problem.
Something happened.
Something happened.
That's awesome. Cool stuff.